lots of problems here, my friends, but we're gonna get it, right? Okay. Here it comes. All right, gotta let you guys know. By the way, we got about a 30-second lag here, okay? 30-second lag. I'm seeing audio here. You guys should be getting audio. So as soon as I get the first thumbs up or, hey, Eric, we can hear you type of thing here, then we're going to get rolling, okay? Sweet. All right, Scotty Moon just said sweet. I hope that means that you can hear me. Anybody else, can you hear me? We got to make sure that you guys can hear me before I start talking, right? I don't want it to look stupid. Yeah, okay, Lewis is saying yeah. Probably means that we're good. I'm just guessing. These are guesses. Let me know. Somebody out there, let me know, let me know. Now I can hear you, but I can hear you beeping sound, but I can still hear you. Beeping sound. Anybody else hear the beeping sound? We can hear you, yes. Okay. Brian, I'm not sure what that beeping sound is, okay? That may be your watch going off or something. I'm messing with you. I don't know. I look like a banana. Annoying beeping sound. Jason saying we got an annoying beeping sound. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this webcam right here. Jeez. Checking. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to try it again. Hold on there. Hang in. Okay, I'm seeing my meters. Are you guys getting that annoying beeping sound? Let me know. As soon as we got that, we're gonna get rolling here. The beeping sound, like chart music. You're still getting the beeping sound. Jeez. Hold on, my friends. Seeing my meters. Are you guys getting? Golly. This is what I want you guys to do. Please hang in there with me. This is why we're doing all these test broadcasts, okay? So hang in the room here. I'm going to literally restart my computer, and we're going to try this again. Give me 3 minutes. I apologize. This is why we're doing these test broadcasts, so that Saturday can be good. If you hang in the room, I'll be back in 3 minutes, okay? I'm going to restart my computer. Here we come. Hang in there. And checking. Okay, we've got a camera and we have some sound. Let me know if we're getting something, my friends. This is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. Okay, you would not believe how much preparation I've done for this broadcast, and how frustrating it is when things don't work. And I keep my head pretty cool. Okay. Can you guys hear me? I know that part of my head is cut off. I understand that. Can you hear me? Sounds much better, much better, much better. Okay, good. Okay, no pulsating heart monitors. Good. I apologize because I have 3 cameras set up, including one for my, I hate that angle. This is just what we got today. I'm sorry. I literally have so many cameras set up here, and they're just not all working. So I got to figure this out, okay? Okay, affirmative. Good, good, good. Okay, so that makes me happy. We got a lot of yeses. We got people happy in here. So bottom line, I guess what matters is that we're here and that we're going to have fun and then we're going to get some questions answered, right? That's all that matters. Okay, so I'm going to get this thing positioned just right here and we're going to rock and roll. Alright, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to answer any questions that you guys might have regarding guitar. And this could be electric, this could be acoustic. Got to kick this camera back. Could be electric, could be acoustic, any of those, okay? So, without further ado, let's rock and roll. Alright? I'm seeing that you guys are hearing me there. Like I say, I've got boom mics, I've got all sorts of really good stuff set up, but unfortunately, just don't have it all right now. Annoying sound gone. Okay, good. I thought somebody was saying that it's here. Jeez. All right, let's look here. We got folks from Singapore. We got folks from Italy, I saw. What you guys can do is I'm running through to see who's all here. Throw me some questions, okay? I'm looking at the wrong camera. Throw me some questions, and we'll get rolling here, okay? So, who's all here? Pam, Matiz, Scotty Moon, Jaspret, Ginger, Zane, Scotty, Reverse, Dominique, Brian, Robert, Josh, Guitar Man, Lewis, Roy. We got a lot of people in here. Bill, Russ. I can't pronounce that one. 7, Luke, Josh, Russ. We got a lot of people in here. Zoltan. I'm excited. Thank you very much. So, without further ado, let's jump into some questions here, okay? So, I'm going to take them as I see them. How can we remove rust from my pickups on an electric guitar? I'm not sure the answer to that one. Rust from the pickups on the electric guitar. I guess that depends on what part of the pickup you're talking about. If it's just the surface area, what I would do is I would probably take a little bit of like really either light steel wool or sandpaper, although that's probably going to take the, it's going to take a little bit of the surface off of your pickup. I actually do not take steel wool. Take that back. Do not take steel wool because there's steel particles in it and that can mess with your pickup. So do not take steel wool. Talk to a guitar repair person about that. I'd leave the rust on there. I'm looking at my guitars right now, my vintage guitars, and there's rust on it, and I love it. It means because they're vintage and they've seen some love. So don't mess with the rust. Leave the rust. It's good. Rust is good. Okay, why do I such at bar chords? I practice and practice, but I still stuck. Okay, I'm guessing you mean suck on both of those. But Bill, because you haven't practiced enough. Everybody thinks that they practice way more than they feel that they should in order to be good at a particular something. But bottom line, bar chords take a while to learn. If you watch my effing F chord series, or a video I should say, on how to slowly form that chord, it will help a ton. But it's a slow process, and most people, they try to take it too fast, and it's kind of like forcing a kid to speak. I mean, a baby's going to say a couple things and then that's it, and you can't expect it to just be able to read the encyclopedia. It's just not going to happen. So don't expect yourself to just get bar chords. I always say practice is the remedy for anything that ails you on the guitar, and really, as far as anything in life, that's true. Just practice, and you'll get there. So I don't know how long you've specifically spent at bar chords, but my guess would be you haven't spent enough time, otherwise you would get them. And don't get offended by that. Just do it. Just practice. Be good. And so this is for everybody out there. Stop making excuses. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying everybody in general, me included. Don't make excuses. If you want to be good at guitar, don't be afraid of practicing. Don't be afraid of digging in and practicing. There's nothing in life is for free, and you have to practice your ass off if you want to get good. Okay? Ass is not a cuss word. It's a donkey. All right. All right. I just bought my first guitar. How do I get started? Learn chords. Follow. I tell you what. Everybody who doesn't know about this, I have a free lesson series. It's the first 30 lessons. Listen to me. If you had come to me, if you were coming to me and spending all that time with me, 30 lessons, the first 30 lessons that I teach all students, that's 30 weeks, it's nearly a year. You're going to be paying me thousands of dollars, literally. But I've uploaded this series for free. The link is below. You'll see it. I believe it's below. I'm going to double check here right now. It's not. It's not below. I'm going to have Jason, my trusty right-hand man, I'm going to have him put that in the description. But you can find this if you don't want to wait for that description to be put up in the video, in the description of the video, then go to YourGuitarSage.com and look for it. I believe you can get to it from there. Okay, but that's where you want to start. Don't start with chords. Start with some basic exercises. Don't start with chords. Watch that series. It's going to save me a lot of time talking here, and it's going to help you a lot more. You know, Cover del Gran Funk Mirando. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I don't speak Spanish. I'm so sorry. There. Hey, look. There goes the link. Jason just put that up. You can see it. It just went up. So make sure you check that out. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know exactly what that means. Okay. What are your guitar tips for getting better? What should we practice specifically? Okay, Roston is saying this. Okay, guys, let me talk to you a little bit about this, and also let's talk about independence. Okay, let's talk about how you, as guitar players, wherever you live, in Croatia or Russia or the Philippines or the U.S. or whatever, I'm going to button this button. There you go. Why? Because it feels weird. So let's talk about becoming independent, because I get a lot of these, and in these broadcasts, nothing wrong with it. I want you to ask questions. I don't want you to feel like you can't ask questions. But you guys are asking some really very, very, very general questions, like, how do I go from beginners to advanced? I got that in the last broadcast. I have so many free materials for you. You've got to dig in. There's not a thing I can tell you in a sentence here that's going to get you there. So when you say, what are your guitar tips to getting better, watch those 30 free lessons. There is a definite progression, a definite order. If you don't follow that order, most people don't have and this is not saying anything bad, so don't let ego get involved here. Most people don't have the wherewithal to keep going and to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get amazing at this, nothing's going to stop me, I'm going to rock the guitar, and they're going to just find out this information. So that's why I create these series for you. That's why I have nearly 800 videos here on YouTube. So how do you get better? Specifically, watch those 30 videos. Seriously. Once you're done with that, watch my other videos. Get the books. Get the ebooks. Do one thing at a time. I'm not saying go buy all my stuff. In fact, I have a ton of free stuff. Use all the free stuff if you want. Get in the Unstoppable Guitar System for $1 for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Tons of stuff. So, okay, how do I feel about the Fender Vintage noiseless pickups? I've heard good things about them. So, noiseless, when you take a Strat, I don't have it plugged in right now, but if you take a Strat and you I've got my SG plugged in, and we'll go to some electric stuff should we need to. But noiseless pickups. Basically, they bump the noise out by doing this electronically, and I have not owned them personally, so I don't know for sure. But you know, Fender makes some really good stuff, and I would just look at reviews because I don't own any, so I can't really say that specifically. I don't want to lead you astray, and I'm not the kind of person that will say that I know something when I don't. Eric, can you tell us a bit about your guitar? Is it a Gibson Jumbo? Yeah, this is an SJ200. Or also known as a J200. It's just a classic. It's known as the king of the flat tops, and it's it's a jumbo body guitar, so it's bigger than a standard dreadnought, and it's an amazing guitar. It's very loud. It's fairly expensive. They start somewhere around $3,000. And they go up from there. But you know, Epiphone makes a version of this, and it is much cheaper. And I have it actually upstairs. My wife won it in a songwriting contest, or not in a songwriting contest. She had a #1 recently here, and for Tyler Farr, called "Guy Walks Into a Bar." It's a country song, and she won this guitar, and it's basically an SJ, but it's a Epiphone. And it's real nice, and it's cheap. I think it's like $400 or $500. So get yourself one of those. Real nice. Hey, Rachel's saying, hey, do you think you could make a video about how to replace guitar strings? I got one. I got a video. Not singling you out, Rachel, but you guys got to get to typing YourGuitarSage and whatever it is you want. YourGuitarSage changing strings, YourGuitarSage Elvis, YourGuitarSage The Clash, whatever. Get to using that YouTube search engine. Got them out there. In fact, I think I have several. Russia, nice. Joel from Costa Rica, nice. Sounds like Romper Room. I hope it doesn't. Jeez. Okay, YourGuitarSage. Do you now Matthew Mole? Do you now Matthew Mole? Do I know Matthew Mole? Matthew? Do I know meth? I've never done meth. I wouldn't do it. If you're saying, do I know Matthew Mole? I don't. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. El Paso is here. Weird beeping noise. For real? For real. We getting that beeping noise again? Somebody let me know we are. That's not cool. So hopefully that's you got the front of the broadcast. Do you have any tips on playing a finger roll? It's classical technique. It sounds like a strum, but you're finger picking. Any tips on helping me out? Okay, it sounds like what you're talking about is something called, I think it's called rastiado or rastiado, but not to be mistaken with a finger roll. So a lot of times, you know, when you're playing guitar, there's something called a finger roll, and it's when you take your finger and basically you're barring a particular note. So let's say I was, if I'm playing the 3rd fret here of the 3rd string, and I wanted to play the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, I would go. That's called a roll, okay? But you're probably talking about like talking about that, and that's more of a flamenco technique. And the idea there is you want to take at least fingers 1, 2, and 3, PIM, and you want to fan it out. So you kind of do this fan. Let's see if I can get that guitar up a little higher, since I don't have all my cameras set up. So you want to fan that hand out and then bring it back. And this takes a little getting used to, you know. Fan out and then bring it back. And my rastiado is terrible. I'm not a flamenco player. I just know the basics of it, you know. Of the basics of that technique. I don't know the basics of flamenco. That's a whole new bit. Scotch Brite Pad. Sure, Brett. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, sure. Hi Texas. Hello from Texas. Ever do a Winery Dogs lesson? I have not. Texas here as well. A lot of Texas. Texas represented. All right, how to learn, practice improvisation. I know how to play scales and solos, but don't know how to improvise. Okay, so in fact, this Saturday, guys, I'm going to be talking about this. In fact, I tell you what, might be a good segue right now to do this. This Saturday at what time? 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. I believe I have that right. If not, you guys should be, if you haven't already, you should be following the link that you got in your email. You should be getting on my Facebook page, my Twitter page. If you guys want to be in on this, you need to be connected. And I can't get in touch with thousands and thousands of people, so you got to take the bull by the horns here, be responsible, and get on those pages and like them and do all that stuff, and then you'll find out about this, okay? But I'm going to be doing a live webcast this Saturday on how to play by ear, which has to do with improvisation, okay? And here's the deal. I'm going to be giving away a lot of stuff. Are you ready to know what I'm going to be giving away? Here we go. Ortega guitars. I'm going to be giving away an R121. So the kind folks at Ortega Guitars have donated this guitar for this lesson. We're going to be giving that out, okay? As well with all these brands. These are folks that are partnering with me in regards to this broadcast and future broadcasts as well, hopefully, where we're going to be giving all this stuff away. So this guitar will be given away. Vibe strings, I'm going to be giving these strings away. By the way, I have reviews for all the bits and pieces that I'm putting up here as well. X Guitar X capos, lifetime warranty, we're going to be giving those away. I don't have the slide up here, but I just did a review, and it will be going up hopefully before the end of the week, but it will be on Dragon's Heart picks. They're absolutely fabulous, and they will as well be given away. Click tuners, I have a review for this. That's a little screenshot from that review, and this is exactly what they look like. Very clear, very bright, fantastic. Oh, and we Jamstik. This thing is absolutely fabulous. It's really a cool little bit if you're traveling or if you're doing anything with your iPhone, your iPad, you know, your computer. Really cool little bit to keep your fingers moving, and we're going to be giving one of those away as well. So on that broadcast, that's why I mentioned that, because why? Because it's going to be basically about improvisation, or more, it's going to be about playing guitar by ear, but that has everything to do with improvisation. So back to Anna's question, how do I improvise? Well, this is what you do. You go onto YouTube, or you get some jam tracks in some way. They're called jam tracks. And basically it's background chord progressions, drums, bass, that sort of thing all at the same time, with no singing and that sort of thing over it, so that you can improvise over it. If you know the key of it, then you can improvise over it. That's how you get good at improvisation, is you get out there, and there's an expression that musicians say, and it goes something like, you know, you find out the notes to play by finding out what notes not to play. Okay, that's more of an ideal than it is a saying, but you find out what notes to play by finding out what notes not to play, and that's the truth of it. You know, when you wake up every day, you don't plan everything that you're going to say throughout the day. Obviously, that sounds silly, right? You improvise. So if I come up to you and I say, hey Anna, how are you doing today? You're going to tell me how you're doing. Or maybe you won't, but you'll say something probably. And it won't be anything that you planned. So improvisation is the same way. The reason that we're so good at it with our voice, like I didn't plan this other than just the Q&A. I'm going to answer your questions today, right? On Saturday I'll have more of a script, or at least I'll have an idea of what I'm going to talk about, but I don't have it scripted because it's improvisation. I have an idea. I know the key, or I know the subject. So you got to know the key, and I'm going to be talking about that on Saturday. Once you know the key and you know what scale you want to use, like if you want a bluesy sound, you'd use a blues scale. If you want something with more notes in it that sounded more major or minor, then you'd use diatonic scales.
So knowing what scales to use with the chord progressions is going to be helpful. I cover all this stuff in my programs. But that's how you get good. The only way you can get good at anything is to do it. Okay? If you want to get good at making baskets from the free throw line, you throw baskets from the free throw line. If you want to get good at making 3-point shots, you have to do it from the 3-point shot area. Okay? I know that sounds logical, but that's how you get good at improvisation, is you improvise. So get some jam tracks. I'm actually starting to produce jam tracks myself, so be looking out for those. Also, I have a ton of them in the Unstoppable Guitar System. You can get in there for $1. If you don't know how to jam to those, check that out. You're privy to the whole system for $1, so make sure you check that out. Okay, please help me with chords. I such at them no matter how much I practice them. Okay, Bill, I think we might have talked about that already. You got to practice them, and the only way to practice them is to either just practice them without any sort of guidance, or follow my paid system or my free system. I've got 30 free videos out there that will walk you through I've got a lot more than 30. I've got about 1,000 free videos out there, but I have a step-by-step system that you can find that Jason put into the chat. So make sure that you find that. It's the first 30 lessons that I teach all students, and it will help you with chords. You got to be able to practice single strings before you practice chords. Okay? What is the difference between a lick and a riff? Nothing. A lick and a riff is the same thing. It's just, that's a riff or a lick, or that's a lick or a riff. Same thing. I've been playing guitar for 4 years, but when I look back, I've made very little progress in the last year or two. I'm interested in fingerstyle guitar and songwriting. What can I do to progress? You can practice finger picking, and you can practice songwriting. I know it sounds silly, but I'm telling you, if you guys get into this mindset of whatever it is that you want to be good at, start doing it. Start at suck stage, because that's where everybody starts. From my songwriting wife, who sucked in the beginning, and now she's writing #1 songs, to Jimi Hendrix, who sucked terribly at the guitar until he practiced and got good, to Eddie Van Halen, who sucked at the guitar until he practiced and got good. It's what ails everybody is practice. So if you want to get good at finger picking, practice finger picking. If you don't know how to finger pick, watch those 30 free lessons. I have one of those in there, is the basics of finger picking. And if you want more advanced finger picking lessons, once you get through that, then go to the Unstoppable Guitar System and watch that. Okay? That's how you get good at finger picking. Songwriting, start songwriting. In those same courses, I teach you about how, if you know you're in a particular key, like the key of G, that there are certain chords that are going to sound nice, like G and C and D and A minor and E minor. You could even put a B7 in there if you wanted. But there are certain chords that you'll find out work well together, and knowing these little tricks is what helps. A lot of people say, well, I'm self-taught. I don't need books, I don't need instructors, yada, yada, yada. That's fine, you can do that, but you better be really tenacious at learning the guitar, and you better be really good at just pulling stuff off the radio or off of an MP3 to get good at it. Or at least you need to have the desire and the gall and the drive to go do it, because if you don't, it's not going to happen. Okay? You got to go after it. So practice songwriting. Start writing some lyrics. Start writing some chord progressions. Write some melodies. For instance, here's me songwriting. Okay, seriously, that's songwriting. That is me just playing a chord progression, some chords that I know. I just picked the tempo, I picked the key, I started humming a melody. Songwriting is as simple as that. Now, I'm not going to do anything with that because I don't think it's very special. But what happens is sometimes, most of the time, if you keep going, you will come across something special. Come across a special lyric, a special melody, a special chord, something that will make it magical and will keep driving you forward to writing a song. Okay? That's why I don't write more songs, is because because I'm teaching and doing stuff like that more. But yeah, anybody could write a song You don't even need an instrument. You can be like Mariah Carey and just start humming. You know, if you've strung more than one word together in your life, more than two words, you can write a song because you're improvising. Okay. Now, whether it's a good song is a matter of opinion. Number one, right? It's like one guy says a song's good, another guy says a song sucks. So it's a matter of opinion. But if 1,000 people say your song sucks, your song may suck. So that means you want to keep practicing and getting better and better at it. So practice. Do you have any tips for improving picking precision? Yes. Practice picking precision. Now, so you want to practice those exercises. Guitar Mastery Simplified, I have a bunch of lessons in there. I have some of these similar lessons here on YouTube, exercise 1, 2, and 3. They're also in the series, the 30 free lessons series. Practice those. Here's one you can practice. Very simple. Just a straight 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, depending on where you are at in your playing, I've got tons of stuff that you can practice. You can practice your arpeggios. You know, those sorts of things. Tons of stuff. But just watch my videos. I've got, practice songs. That's how you practice. You improve your picking technique, Hey, mucho blah, 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 blah. I think that means, hey, lots of talking. You'd be right, because what they found, what scientists have proven, is that when you talk, you can communicate ideas. In Mexico or the U.S. or anywhere, really, it's a new fad the kids are doing, where they talk and then one idea gets conveyed from the brain and out the mouth into somebody else. It's a cool thing. I've been doing it a lot since I was a kid. What would you recommend for a beginning guitar player? What picks would you recommend for a beginning guitar player? Depends on what you're doing, my friend. If you're playing acoustic guitar, then you probably want something a little bit more flimsy. And I really love these brain picks. They've got some abrasion on them, and they bend, so they're very forgiving. Otherwise, I just discovered these fantastic picks by the name of Dragon's Heart guitar picks, and has my little logo on there. Pretty cool, huh? And these are fabulous because, check it out, there's 3 different edges on it, which the bottom one is like a standard edge. This one here is more like a speed pick or jazz pick, and then the edge here is more like a standard pick edge. So depending on what it is that you want to do, you've got 3 different choices there. Now these are very thick picks. I like to use them for electric work. I don't use them so much for strumming. I use a thinner pick for strumming, but these are fabulous, and you can play on them from anywhere from this one here you can play on for 1,500 hours before it even starts showing any wear on it, which is amazing because you're going to get consistent picking every single time. So that's what I'd say. Check out dragonsheartpicks.com. Great stuff. What do you think is good for what guitar do you think is good for $200? Typically $200 guitars and lower are going to suffer a little bit with your quality, okay? But if you're going to pick a $200 guitar, as far as an acoustic guitar, the Jasmine made by Takamine is bar none, hands down, I think the best guitar that you can get for under $200. If you're talking about an electric, I would try to go with an Epiphone. But you do get what you pay for. So, I always think it's funny when folks are looking for this really quality guitar for cheap. It doesn't happen, If you want a $1 million house for $1,000, it just doesn't exist. It's called supply and demand, and then the more expensive and better quality things are going to cost more money. But a $200 guitar, I've played $200 guitars, I have $200 guitars, and I'll make them work. So now, if you're talking about a nylon string guitar, the Ortega is the Ortega 121, the one I'm going to be giving away this Saturday. I believe that's around the $200 range. Fabulous guitar. I love that guitar. And if you're a newbie, you want some nice soft strings, get a nylon string. It's a beautiful guitar, so check that out. This one right here, absolutely fabulous guitar. That's the if you go to, I believe it's OrtegaGuitars.com. If it's not, then just obviously search on Google Ortega, Ortega. That right there is a fantastic guitar. I've got it sitting in my studio right now. That's the R121. So check that guy out. Okay. Okay. Can you talk about the guitar giveaway thing? Yes. So I'm giving the R21 away. We're giving the Jamstik away. We're giving away strings. We're giving away these are vibe strings. We're giving away the X guitar, X capo. We're giving away click, the click tuner. And we're giving away Dragon's Heart guitar picks. These guys right here. Fabulous. So, and I've done reviews for all these, so make sure that you check these guys out, okay? All these. Thanks. About 5 hours. Okay, so Bill's practicing about 5 hours a week. Okay, Bill, 5 hours a week is better than 4. And it's not as good as 6. Not judging. I'm just saying the better you want to get, the more practice you do, the quicker you're going to get there. But it also has to do with precision practice, and that means very concentrated. Don't, have the TV on and those sorts of things. I mean, eventually you can do that sort of practice, and I do it. I did it last night. I was watching the new Vacation movie, which, by the way, is hilarious. It only has 2 stars, but I thought it was hilarious. I was laughing the whole time. So anyhow, I was sitting there practicing arpeggios and stuff like that. But in the beginning, as a newbie, you really should focus. And so 5 hours of focus practice is going to be a lot better than not. Okay? Kane is doing electric guitar. Luke, what was the hardest thing you had to overcome when playing guitar? I don't like that when I'm looking at these chats that they move so quickly. I don't like that. It makes me mad. Then I gotta go scroll back up. Sorry, I'm still trying to find this. Oh boy, we got a lot of questions in here. Jeez. Hold on. I don't like that it does that. Hey, YouTube, if you're listening, don't do that. Freaking peeing me off here. Okay, here we go. I'm back. Am I? Nope. Jeez. Okay, here we go. Okay. No, that's not it. Jeez, a lot of questions, guys. I love it, though. Okay, what was the hardest thing you had to overcome when playing guitar? I think the hardest thing I had to overcome was the same thing that you guys go through, and it's being frustrated. It's saying, it's saying, gosh, why aren't I better than I am? I practice all the time. I think that's probably the hardest thing, and I'd say that's probably true for everybody, is that, you practice and you just go, God, I should be better at this. And that's the thing. If you can overcome that, and the way to overcome that is to be happy with where you're at in your playing for the moment, and say, I am where I am. This is where I'm at today. I want to get better. So you're on this continuum. If you're in the center here, you can always look behind you and go, I couldn't do the C chord in the beginning. I couldn't do the E minor chord in the beginning. Now I'm doing that. I can do the C chord now, but I'm really having a hard time with the B7 or whatever. And you're always on this continuum. If you can just be happy where you're at and look behind you and say, man, I've gotten far, and that's where I want to go, doing that's going to help a lot, okay? Probably more than anything. Do you know if playing piano can ruin my guitar playing as I recently started? No, absolutely not. It will help your guitar playing. It will help with your hands. It will help your understanding of music. Any other instruments that you can pick up, do it. It's very helpful to understand music from all these different places now. Kane is playing electric now. Rodley Joachim, which is the name of my dad, Joachim, if you're from Germany. Does the tuner have to be the first in the signal chain on a pedal board? No, it does not have to be the first in the signal chain. It can be anywhere in the signal chain. But, there's some advantages to having it in the front of the chain and some advantages to having it in the back of the chain. If you put it in the back of the chain, it turns off all that all the pedal noise. But if you have a vibrato or flanger or something like that going on before the tuner, and then you hit that, yeah, that's on when you hit the tuner, it's going to mess with your tuning. So that's why some people put it in the front. But no, it doesn't have to be. I always say experiment with your pedals, but there's definitely a protocol, and I cover that in the Unstoppable Guitar System, like where to put everything. Link for that's below, by the way, if you want that. Okay, are there any, let me see, make sure I got that. Thank you so much. Recently started playing piano, and my hands now feel strange when I play guitar. Yep, that happens. I remember that when I started playing bass, my hands started feeling weird because, you know, you're used to like little strings, and then the big strings felt weird when you played those. But over time, that goes away, and you start becoming kind of like instrument agnostic, in my opinion, where I could pick up any guitar and I'll make it work, you know. If it's a crappy guitar or a fantastic guitar, I'll make it work. So yeah, it does, but that'll go away in time. Are there any brand of pick that you recommend? Yes, I mentioned the Guitar Heart, Dragon's Heart picks. That's what I recommend for electric. If you're talking about acoustic, I'd say go with a thinner nylon pick, like a brain pick. These purple brain picks. Snarling dog brain picks are real nice for acoustic. Okay, what do you recommend for a low? What amp do you recommend for a low budget? Everyone says a twin reverb from Fender, but I don't have $2,000 for an amp like that. Any suggestions? Yes, 100%. That amp right there. This is a Fender Blues Junior. I have a couple of them. I love them. I've played through every amp known to man, just about. And I mean, literally, I've owned Mesa Boogie and Randalls and Marshalls, and Fenders, all sorts of Fenders. I've owned so many different kinds of amps, Crates and Gorillas and Riveras, and anyhow, that thing is fabulous. Just gives great tone, and it's great for pedals, so push it with pedals, and the tone is just beautiful. Now, if you're looking for kind of like an all-in-one, and you're not looking for tubes, this Amplify by Line 6, and it's spelled Amplifi, I believe. These are great. They're not super duper loud because they're not tube. This is the loudest one. I think this one's 150 watts. But that 5 watt or that Fender Blues Junior, which I don't think it's 5 watts, but it's definitely way louder than this thing will ever be. And this is 150 watts, whereas this thing may be like 15 or 18 or 5 or something like that. I should know my equipment better, but I just don't. But this is great because it has all sorts of built-in effects and what have you. Line 6 Amplify, those things are bad to the bone. Okay. Someone's asking, what kind of amp do you use live? Bam! Fender Blues Junior every time. It's just fantastic, no nonsense. Will there be more of these? I'm going to be on a retreat on Saturday with no internet. Howling Fang, you need to not go to that retreat, and you need to be here. No, I'm joking. Go to the retreat. It'll be on, it'll be syndicated, so it'll be up on YouTube. So go to your retreat, have fun, come back and watch it. Yes, we're going to be doing these a lot. I don't know how often. At least once a month. I'd like to shoot for 2 a month. Maybe at the most it'll be once a week, but I don't know if we'll be doing it that much. I'll just have to see. If you guys come out and we give a lot of stuff away and everybody's happy and you guys are learning stuff, then we'll do it, you know. A good $200 guitar is a Yamaha. Yes, Yamaha makes great stuff. Thank you, Bill. Yamaha makes fantastic stuff. So, and they're cheap. They're good stuff. Same with Epiphone. Totally love your videos. Can you show an easy beginner blues riff? Yes. Here's an easy beginner blues riff. Let's do a real basic boogie woogie riff. So on the 5th and 4th strings, guitar slightly out of tune. So this basic, you've heard this before. That before, right? So I'm going to show you the basic riff is just on the 5th and 4th string. Those are the only two that you're playing. So if you just pick those two, I like to bring my thumb over the top of the neck and mute that low E string. So now I'm just getting 5 and 4, just getting those two strings. And so you want to do this blues shuffle like this. Okay, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Then you want to take either your 3rd finger or your pinky, and you want to bring it up to the 4th fret. Okay, so this 1st finger is on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, whereas the 5th string is open. It's a basic power chord. And then we're going to toggle back and forth to the 4th fret. You could use your pinky or your 3rd finger. So. So a lot of times when people are trying to learn stuff right away, they just start playing instead of listening. So it's good to go bum 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 bum, like actually be able to hum it. If you can't hum it, you're not going to be able to play it because you're going to have to randomly fall upon it for it to work. So it's good to hum. If you want to get real fancy, you can come up here to the 5th fret. You can move it down to the D string, and you can do it at the E string as well. Okay, I go over that in the boogie woogie licks portion of the Unstoppable Guitar System. You can get in there for $1, so check that out. Okay. Okay, good question, Joe, and thank you for the kind words. Q&A in the future. Could you please make a tutorial on song Matthew Mole? Oh, I cannot find anything. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, Martina. It's a song. You know, for the Q&As, we can't really do tutorials because it just will take way too much time if I want to teach it correctly. So I probably will not be able to do that. I'm sorry, Martina. I would love to, but it's just not enough time, you know, because these Q&As are typically an hour. And, I mean, look, we've got 48 people in here right now, so we need to be able to rock on. So I'm sorry, I probably won't be able to do a whole song tutorial. I mastered chord progressions. The only problem I have is doing scales or licks over my progressions. Any tips? Yeah. So I have a video on YouTube. You can find it by typing YourGuitarSage, maybe like scales, chords, like those 3 words, because I recently put one up and it's like how to play scales over chords, and basically you have to know what key you're in order to do that. Okay, so it's like if you know how to play chord progressions, great, but then you don't know how to use the licks or the scales over top of it. You need to be able to do that, and I kind of talk about that from I do talk about that from like a 30,000 foot view. For more details on that, again, Unstoppable Guitar System, and I go over all that stuff in detail. What's my favorite rock guitar? Ooh, that's a hard question, but probably it's either going to be the Les Paul or it's going to be my my trusty SG, because it's just a beast. I just love it. It's just got such a love that tone. I just love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. That's probably my favorite rock guitar. How do you find bass players and drummers? I use Craigslist, but be careful because there's weirdos too. But that's what I do. There's also something called musiciansjunction.com, and it's a big, massive database that you can find folks, and you put your ad up there. It's free, and you can find free. You find other folks are free on there as well, so that's all free. Totally love your videos. Can you show an easy beginner's blues riff? Good, I just did that. Your ebook is wonderful. Thank you so much. If you guys don't know what he's talking about, Joe's talking about the ebooks. We're going to be giving a bunch of those away on Saturday, by the way, but some of that material is covered, or all of that material is covered in these books, but I should say the ebooks cover some of that information. I have a series of 3. 3? Is that right? Yeah, 1, 2, and the blues book. So lots of really good stuff. So make sure you check that out at YourGuitarSage.com. And there's a free one there too if you want to just kind of get a little taste. Dominic's saying, when I play riffs and bars, my hand hurts really bad. That is if I'm playing them for 2 or 3 minutes. Any advice on practicing? That has everything to do with stamina. So just like running, if you can sprint really good but you can't run a mile, it's not that you can't run a mile, it's that you don't practice running a mile, or you haven't practiced it enough, okay? So if you practice running a mile, you'll magically be able to run a mile. If you practice running 10 miles, you'll magically be able to run 10 miles in time. So, what you need to do is you just need to practice more. Again, there's this constant yearning to be better than we are, which is good because it keeps us driven. But it's also damn frustrating because we're never where we want to be. And that's kind of not the best place in the world to feel like if you practice a lot, especially because you're like, I want to be better, you know. But just practice more, and in time it will go away. I find this is true. Look, I've been playing for 30-something years, and I find this is true if I put the guitar down. Well, I forgot where we went recently, but it went someplace for like a week. And when I came back, and I didn't bring a guitar with me at the time. When I came back, I started playing some stuff, and it was just like, oh, it was sluggish, and the muscle memory was real non-responsive, and that sucks because you practiced thousands of hours, and it just happens. What's the point of a bass guitar? I don't know, Ethan. There shouldn't even be a bass guitar. I don't even know why. It should be all lead guitars. Next question. No, I'm joking. The bass guitar is awesome. I love the bass. I play it a lot, and the whole point of a bass guitar is it's typically, it's the bottom 4 strings of a regular guitar, but 1 octave lower, so it's in a different range. And if you have ever heard bands that don't use bass, in my opinion, there's something a little bit lacking there, and it's that low end. You know, a lot of guys will use like guitars that are dropped a whole octave, which is basically just having a bass player playing your same guitar parts, but there's a sonic level that needs to be filled out, and it's that lower area, and that's what the bass does. What do you think about Epiphone, Dave Navarro, Jane signature guitars? I have one. I don't know anything about that guitar, but I know that I like Epiphone guitars. I think they're really cool, and they make a lot of guitar for the money. I really dig them, you know. Marlene, hey Marlene, is saying, hey Eric, you rock. I want to rock too. I'm working on a new Coldplay song, Adventures of a Lifetime, but I can't get the funky feel to it. How can I funk it up? Man, Marlene, I'd have to know that tune specifically to answer that, you know. I would just have to hear it. But, you know, a lot of times when people are talking about like funk and that idea of funk, you know, what they're talking about is they're talking about like this attitude, you know, of like, well, let's do this. I'm going to turn that down a bit. You know, like if you take like an actual funk riff, like, you know, that sort of thing, that's funky. And the things that typically make things funky sounding is that there's a lot of choked notes, you know what I mean? Or just like attitude when they're playing. But right now those are just words to you. They don't mean anything because there are actual techniques that make it sound like that. Like if I'm going, I could say, oh, just attitude, just feel it. Well, no, there's techniques. There's things that I'm doing, like a lot of muted notes. So I'm going, so you hear a chord, like a real sharp snap, and that gives it that sound, as opposed to, nothing wrong with that. It still sounds funky because I'm doing this called skank picking, you know. But if I go, you know, that sort of thing, it's going to have that funky sound. But I'd really have to hear the song to be specific, Marlene. I'm so sorry. Love Marlene. We talk a lot on Facebook and Twitter and what have you. I feel stuck in the guitar. So Pato's saying this, I feel stuck in the guitar. I know the bar chords, the scales, and the cage chords, but I feel stuck. What would you recommend to learn? Pato, learn songs. Everybody, learn songs, learn songs, learn songs, learn songs, learn songs, learn songs. And if I didn't say it in this broadcast, learn songs. Because if you do that, you know, you're taking everything that those guitar players learned. Okay, so literally you could go your whole life and never take a guitar lesson. If you learn songs, all of a sudden these patterns, these different things are going to start becoming evident to you. But you have to play a bunch of songs, like hundreds of songs, and then you'll start seeing it. It comes, you know, scales, chords, riffs, certain things you're going to see over and over again. So learn a bunch of songs. You know, when you just sit there and you practice chords and scales, it gets boring. There's a time for doing that. But if you had a choice to learn music theory, scales, and chords, or songs, 100% of the time I'm going to tell you to learn songs. Okay? And the reason being is you're learning chords, you're learning scales, you're learning all that stuff when you're learning songs. Now, obviously, if you're just going by ear and you don't know what a particular chord is, you're not learning very much. But I'm saying using tablature, using your ear, using things, methods in order to be able to play. You know, if you read music, using stuff like that to determine what it is that's being played. But I'd say always learn songs, okay? Guitar Man is saying, Eric, love your enthusiasm and honesty. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Some people don't appreciate that, and they get really mad because they feel like I'm just saying, well, anybody can play guitar. And I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that anybody can play guitar. No, seriously, I am. I'm saying anybody can play the guitar. If you watch, I have a playlist on YouTube, and it's called Guitar Players with Disabilities, because there are guys there with an arm hacked off here, both arms hacked off completely, hands hacked off, whatever. Or I don't know how they got their arms, you know, cut off. But people do blind playing. It doesn't matter. These people, they have a desire to do it, and they get off their asses and they do it, and they stop making excuses. And I have no time for people with excuses. Get out of my way, because it's a waste of time. I don't mind when people don't know and they're asking questions. But once you're told the answer and you're not, you know, by the bootstraps picking yourself up and moving on, it's like, what are you doing? You know, you've got all the resources. It's 2015. You've got 800 free videos from me. I don't know how many ungodly videos, the ungodly number from Marty and Justin and other great guitar players, guitar teachers. So you have like all the resources at your hand. You got free tablature. I never had any of this stuff. Neither did Jimmy or Eddie or any of these guys. Not that I'm putting myself in that category, because I'm not. But all that to say, tons of resources. So dig in. There is nothing that you can't do on this instrument if you desire to do it. And if you're watching, which you are, on the internet, you have access to the internet, you have access to anything you want on the guitar, be it paid or free. There's stuff out there, okay? Okay, so thank you for the kind words. So Bill's saying, I got scales and pattern in each position, but the runs up and down the neck still confuse me. Could you teach on that subject? Okay, so what Bill's saying is, you know, like he's got his scales, right? So maybe he's so he's got his scales down, right? But he's saying, well, how do you run them together? Grab the maps that I have on the scales. I believe in the free book there is maps of those the fretboards. So instead of learning them statically, like take two scales and kind of noodle around a bit. Like I'll sit there with a scale and I'll go and I'll just sit there and noodle. I I'm not even worrying about technique. I'm just like trying to find places on the neck. So I'll take 2 scales and I'll kind of eyeball them, and then when I'm in, I almost think about them like rooms. So I'm in this room, and then I kind of see this room, like if you were standing in a room and you were seeing a doorway and seeing the other room, but you're not in the room yet, so you can't look around and see all around it. So it's like I can see the doorway into here, but I'm not going to look around until I'm in the room, because it's not going to make a difference, right? So I'm kind of looking around, seeing that next scale where I can slip into it. Now I'm in the new position. And so that's how you practice that. Also practicing like 3-note scales. I cover that in the Unstoppable Guitar System. 3-note scales, or so instead of like this, you go. So now you're crossing right there. You're crossing 2 or 3 different positions at once. Good question. I have an Epiphone DR100. Yeah, I've heard of those. Those are good. Bass guitar. What is the point? What pedal should I buy? I love playing rock, metal, like AC/DC and others. I tell you what to get is get the full tone OCD pedal, and if you can get version 3, the Rico version, that's a guy named Rico, R-I-C-O, and he autographs them, but you can find those on YouTube. But if you can't drill down that far, the OCD pedals, the full tone OCD pedals are really nice sounding, and I have a review for them, I think, on YouTube. If not, I definitely cover it in the Unstoppable Guitar System, but it's full tone, Fulltone, OCD, and man, that seems to be a favorite of a lot of folks. It's a great pedal, man. I mean, listen, man. So whenever you hear me playing like classic rock, AC/DC, and that sort of stuff, that's the pedal I'm using, and it's fabulous, okay? If I had my pedal cam set up, I'd show you, but I don't, alas. What happened to your cat? My cat's here. See, I'm down in the basement right now. I've been banished to the basement by my wife, so no cat. Down in the basement, but they sleep on me, and they're little terrors, but I love them. No beeping noise. Good. No beeping noise. Oh boy, these are questions from way back. Would you please give me common advices about playing around the chords? Okay, so what you probably mean by that is romper room. I got your roll call at the beginning. Yeah, say thanks, Scott. That's funny. So you're saying playing around the chords. So I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that name. I don't even. Yeah. But so let's talk about that. So playing around the chords. So there's a couple different ways that you can play solos and stuff. So chord progressions and playing solos around those chord progressions or scales around those chord progressions. The first way is when you play one particular scale over a whole chord progression. Okay? So for instance, if it's in the key of G major and you're playing G major, A minor, C, D, E minor, and you're in the key of G, very obviously, if you know the rules there, then you could use G major over top of that, okay? But there's another way that's playing kind of more of a jazz style, and I say kind of more of a, it sounds like jazz when you play that this way, typically. But the idea is this. If a chord is a G major, then I would play, over that chord, I'd play a G major. And if the chord's a C, then I could play a C major. If the chord's an A minor, then I can play an A minor scale. If it's a D major, then I can play a D major. So the idea is that when that chord is being played, you could play that specific scale or another scale that does not clash with it. And I cover that in detail in the Unstoppable Guitar System. But I cover that in detail. But the idea is if it's a G major, then you'd play that G major scale over top of it. It's an E minor, you'd play the E minor over top of it. Sometimes there won't be a difference between the scales, at least as far as the notes that they contain. When other times it'll be one note different, or 3 notes different, or 5 notes different. And when you start getting into that, it starts giving this kind of jazzy sound, which sounds kind of disjunct, sounds like you're hitting the wrong notes sometimes. And it's a little bit trickier of a way to play. And me personally, I don't particularly love that sound, at least in regards to jazz, but then I'll take guys like Yngwie Malmsteen, who plays like that a lot, but he doesn't play jazz, and I love his playing. So it is a different mindset. I've done it before in solos, I've done it in songs before, and it's just another way of playing. But a lot of theory detail in that it would take too long to go over in this session. But check out Unstoppable Guitar System. The link for that's in the description of the video, and I do go over that, talk about that. So, did you try the Line 6 Helix? I haven't yet, but I love Line 6 stuff. Obviously, I've played Line 6 stuff for years, and my guess would be it's only better than the stuff that they have made. So my guess would be that it's pretty darn awesome. Okay. No Neapolitan. I don't know, Neapolitan scale? Okay, bass guitar, what's the point? Yeah. Do you think you could make more Led Zeppelin tutorials? You make them easy to learn. Yay, thank you. Yeah, I plan on it. I love them. Lewis, I think the beeping noises aren't here anymore. Good. Okay, good. Beepo. Why you so dope, homie? Thanks, Brad. Camera just farted, howling. I know, it's weird. Okay. It is a loud guitar. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. How often should I change the strings? Vertigo is saying, how often should I change the strings on the electric guitar if you play 3 times a week? Man, it all depends. And I cover this in my changing guitar strings videos in the Unstoppable Guitar System and in and some here on YouTube. But it really depends. What I always say is when they sound bad or they feel bad, change them. Really, don't overcomplicate it. It's that simple. If it doesn't sound bad, keep playing them. If it sounds bad, then do it. Okay? There's not a specific time. Everybody's different. Guys who are playing like on the road, like rock musicians and what have you, oftentimes they'll change their strings every single night. And then there are other guys who like, I believe Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top likes his strings played in. He likes them worn out a little bit, so he'll leave them on. So everybody's different, you know. Okay, Scotch Brite will remove rust from pickups. Yeah, Bill, I see what you're saying. Scotch Brite, yes, 100%. And so Scotch Brite is a brand, and it's like that sponge that's yellow on one side, I think, and green on the other, and the green has an abrasive on it, but it's not steel wool. So that would work out great. Thank you, Bill, for saying that. Love these sessions, Eric. Yay, good. Thank you, Jason. So Robert's saying, can you demonstrate some finger picking exercises with alternate bass lines? Yeah, let's do it. So I cover this in detail in the Unstoppable Guitar System with something called Travis picking, but as well with in some other videos on YouTube and what have you, just not in a lot of detail. So like an example would be, and let me make sure that's good enough for country. Here we go. So it goes something like this. So that would be an example of finger picking with an alternating bass line. So the idea is this. First off, your thumb, if you don't know anything about finger picking, your thumb should, as a basic rule, take care of strings 6, 5, and 4, the 3 lowest strings. Whereas fingers 1, 2, and 3, or PIM, if you're into finger picking, classical finger picking, that should take care of strings 3, 2, 1. And so the idea of an alternate picking, so first off, you got to get your basic finger picking down, but an alternating bass line would be, like for instance with the C chord, maybe I would alternate between the C and the G. And maybe I'll back and forth between my finger and my thumb would play. Sorry. It's getting cold here. These guitars are going out of tune. So for instance, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop to the G, and I'm going to play that G with my thumb. And then I'm going to move to the C, and I'll play that 5th string now. So if you just take a C chord, and I'm picking strings 3 and 2, by the way, so like this. Whoops. So that's what you're going to do to start, and then back and forth. I'm muting with that thumb, by the way. So that'd be a great exercise. Try it on the C chord, and then if you want more details, like I say, the Unstoppable Guitar System has a ton of that stuff in there. Okay, Daniel, what's the most important thing that you've ever learned in classical school? Probably, you know, for me, music theory. You know, basic music theory. There's a lot that I learned in classical school that I just don't use. You know, like we would dissect Bach chorales and that sort of thing, which I thought were great. But I love that sound, but you know, I just don't use that sort of thing very, very often. But I'd say the theory is probably the most important thing that I learned. Was really good stuff. Okay, Brian is saying, do you use your Line 6 amplify much? I see it in the background. I use it mainly to run as a PA in here. And by the way, Ethan, hello. You said hey. So I use it mainly as a PA, but I will use it sometimes. Not so much when I'm running an electric through it, unless there's a specific sound or something. But I really use it for a PA for jamming to, and then I have it basically daisy chained into one of my cameras. So if I'm playing an MP3 jam or something like that, you're getting the audio for that. So that's really what I use it for. It's really cool. I think that I am part banana, Josh is saying. It could be, Josh. I don't know. I don't know you, but you know, could be part banana. So Luke is saying I own some Dragonheart picks. Great product. Yeah, they are. They're really awesome. What does the C, G, B, V, and U on a tuner mean? The C is chromatic, G is guitar, B is bass, V is probably violin, and U is ukulele, because they all have different registers. And like with these, like, where's my, that was my kid. I have, on some capos they have that, right? So there are different modes that you want to put it into. So chromatic means anything goes. It's listening to anything. Guitar, bass, violin, ukulele are typically listening to those specific open strings for that instrument, which makes it a little bit more accurate because it's specifically listening for just that, okay? Zoltan is saying, I have trouble with rhythm. I know I have to practice, and I do, not enough for sure. Can you please give some advice for how I can improve on it and make it solid? Yeah, Zoltan, listen to a metronome. Play to a metronome. And that will help with your rhythm a lot. So get yourself a metronome. If you don't have a metronome or don't have an app, a metronome app, get one, a fantastic one. If you don't know it, is and who's a fabulous instructor is Justin Sanderco, a buddy of mine, and he has a great app on the iPhone, probably in the Android store as well. But it's a great app, and it speeds up if you want it to speed up, so it'll help with your speed. Very cool. Get a metronome. That will help with your rhythm a ton. Okay, that's what I'd say. That's how to make it solid. I practice a lot of AC/DC, and those third upbeats are killing me. Yeah, get a metronome and practice to it. I practice hours and hours with the metronome and backing track when it's okay, but after I pause on practicing those rhythms, I go out of rhythm again. Okay, Zoltan, what's probably happening to you is that your rhythm is getting better, but that when you're playing to a track or something, it's so loud that you're not hearing that you're going out of tune, or that you're playing out of beat. So one of the really cool things about Justin's metronome is that he has this thing called beat cut or measure cut, where you could take out a complete measure or a complete beat or whatever. So you could have it, every now and then it'll drop a beat out of it, and you have to keep playing in time. And you can do it from very subtle to extremely dramatic, where you'd have to be like a computer to know where the beat is, and every place in between. If you work with that, your rhythm's going to get on par. Get that app. It's like $1 or $2. It's awesome. Okay, so I'm expecting that after practicing a lot, I get used to it and should not really focus on it anymore if I've lost rhythm, to be able to pick it up again quickly. Another thing you can do, Zoltan, but this is happening. Please let me know if you have any advice on this. So another thing that you can do is very important, is to tap your foot when you're playing. Tap your foot, move your body, subdivisions of beats. If I'm doing like if I have something very fast like that, I'm gonna be sure I have all the little in-between strums, but I'm thinking boom, 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 boom. See what I'm saying? I'm really trying to concentrate on those accents. If you really concentrate on your accents, it helps so much with your tempo. Very much so, okay? So please do that. Listen to the accents and really let those be your bookmarks, if you will. Like your, boom, I gotta land on those. If you do that, it cleans up the other stuff automatically, How exactly does the Jamstik work? So we're talking about this. This is going to be one of the giveaways, guys, next week. I've mentioned this before, the Jamstik. It's a fantastic little unit. I have a review on it. After the broadcast here, just type in YourGuitarSage Jamstik, or it's one of my more recent videos here. But it is the coolest little thing. I really, really dig it. So anyhow, this is it. And basically it works on Bluetooth. And there are little infrared sensors right in this little guy, right? Little infrared sensors. It's got regular strings. You see it? It plays like a guitar. It feels like a guitar, except it's not a big body, obviously. When you pick it, you can feel it over here, the whole 9 yards. And so it works on infrared. It's really, really accurate. So when you press down, it's seeing it. Okay, that's how it works. Infrared, there's a little MIDI pickup in here. And that's how it works. It just works. I mean, I don't know how to describe it other than that. They've really taken the time to work on this thing, and it's super cool. What's a good country guitar amp for under $500? Bam, right there. Fender Blues Jr. It's a great country amp. If you want something, that's like, a twin or something like that, you're going to be spending a bit more for it, just because it's a hoss of an amp. And but you can get them for used. I get so much of my gear used. I love buying used because you typically get it for like half price, and it's been pre-loved and it's good, So yeah, Scotty, Fender Blues Junior, exactly. I love it. What's the name of that guitar? If you're talking about this one, this is a Gibson SJ200. If you're talking about the electric that I was playing earlier, that's a Gibson SG. You know, there's the first 30 videos. You got to watch that. If you guys aren't watching that, you guys aren't digging in there, you're missing out on a ton of great stuff. Man, it's like if you were sitting with me here in Nashville, you'd be asking me the same exact things, except you got it for free. So if you want to come here to Nashville and pay me a few $1,000s, I'd love to teach you. But I offer all this stuff for free, so why not take advantage of it, right? What's the difference between a regular acoustic guitar and a classical one, like the guitar giveaway? The strings and the neck are different, but in respect to the sound, something changed. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get this one out. Now, because I had so many problems earlier, by the way, this is the guitar, that, and I'll be showing you this in a minute. So this is out of tune because I just have not had the time to tune it. I will before Saturday, but I've been just doing a ton of stuff and getting ready for the broadcast and everything. But the idea is on a classical guitar, you know, you have this kind of, I'm sorry, it's out of tune. So it's a darker tone than, say, an acoustic, like a straight up steel string acoustic, I should say. Okay, those are nylon strings. There is not a truss rod in most classical guitars because the torque on the neck is not as much with the nylon strings as it is the steel strings. So a lot of times there's not a truss rod, which is a rod that runs through the neck. You can see it right here sometimes, and that adjusts the torque of the neck should you need to adjust it, which I would not advise it. I'd let an expert do it. I don't like messing with them. But that's the basic sound difference. You don't want to put steel strings on a nylon string. Don't do it. You'll typically break it. And there's just not a need to. It's a nylon string guitar. It's like a ukulele, you know. There's a wider neck, so the neck is quite a bit wider, and for allowing classical playing, big chords and that sort of thing, you know. All right, yeah. So Josh, nom nom nom. Indeed, Josh Punk. I love that name. Buddy Martin, hey brother, so nice to speak to you. Also, thanks so much the other day to answer my questions about acoustic guitars. You're welcome so much. Nelson, hi. Martina, excuse me. In the future, you do tutorials on one of the songs of an artist, Matthew Mole, very underrated. Why is there a bass guitar, please? Okay. Is he even answering our questions? I am. That's all I've done, really. Do you use the grip via SRV Hendrix, and would you recommend learning that style versus traditional? I'm not sure what you mean by the grip, unless you mean playing over the top of the neck like this, which I have videos for this both on YouTube and more detailed in the Unstoppable system. But if you're talking about, like, you know, if you're talking about that, you know, do I use that? No, I don't. Yeah, I do. There I go. I did it. And I have a video on it, so make sure you watch it. But basically, you know, the idea is that's playing the fifth. That's having this low fifth, which if you don't know what that means, you got to watch my videos. But basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the fifth note of the scale. When you play it like this, you don't hear that fifth, and it sounds different. It's just got a different thing, you know. So, do you use? Yeah. So that's so I use both. You know. Joey's saying, let's talk more play, please. Man, if I had something to play, but you guys are asking so many questions, so I love playing. I don't like talking as much. I'd love to be playing, you know. But yes, I agree. I'd like to do more playing. Hey, I made my own pick with an old credit card. Yep, I've heard of that. Josh is saying the fact that I can get it right away with a lot more fun if I was a great way of saying it would mean so happy to see my tweets and you're have a great way to keep up with my life. I'm not sure what that means, Josh. But I'll read that again later. What is the name of that guitar? So I went over that. Do you make music? I do make music. In fact, I've got all my stuff on YouTube. A couple things that I do is there's a band called Kirby. That's Kerby, and the Roaches. Kirby and the Roaches, and that's a band that I have with my wife. And we have several things on YouTube. I think we've got 3 things, including a Radiohead cover. Check those things out. I think you'll dig them. In fact, I'm really proud of that project. I love it. Not a lot of guitar in it. But then I also have my solo stuff, which you can find under just Eric Andreas. And there's a playlist on my YouTube page. And it says something about like entertainment, not guitar lessons. And if you look that up, then you will see my electric guitar stuff. But yeah, I'm on Spotify and that stuff under Eric Andreas as well, so you can find me there. And I'm also on Spotify for Kirby and the Roaches, so make sure you check that out. Okay, I'm gonna stick with that. I can't tell. Eric, I have gone to a 2mm pick and I love it. It seems to be helping so much. Buddy is saying a 2mm pick. That's about what this is, these Dragon Hearts. They're thick, you know, they're really thick. But as far as accuracy, they're more accurate because they don't move. That's a variable that you don't have to contend with. For newbies that are strumming guitar, maybe not. Maybe you don't want to use a pick so thick. But for playing electric, it seems to help. You got to get used to it. It feels weird at first, but in time you'll get it. Ivo, Eric, you sexy beast. Thank you, buddy. Thank you very much. Thank you, my friend. FCC, what do you learn if you want to be a rhythm guitarist after you learned the most chords and how to build chords? What do you learn if you want to be a rhythm guitarist after you learned the most chords and how to build chords? So I go over this in the Unstoppable Guitar System, where I talk in detail about how to build chords, like how to understand the concept of building chords. So, I mean, I don't know, probably 10,000 chords. Did I sit down and learn 10,000 chords? Not really. I probably sat down and learned like a few hundred. But what happens is you start understanding how to build chords. Then you can go, okay, well, if this is a G, then this is a G, and this is a G, and this is a G, and this is a, and you can keep going, and then you can come up with all these different forms. Then now all of a sudden you took a few hundred chords, and now there are a few thousand chords. So I would say, learning the Cage system, understanding how to build chords, and like I say, I talk about that in detail in the Unstoppable Guitar System. But play songs. Listen, anybody who can hear my voice right now, play songs. We're not here to play guitar to just noodle. That'd be like a sculptor just sitting with clay and just constantly mashing it in his hand, going, mashing, and never making something. Make something. Write something. Write something for your boyfriend. Write something for your girlfriend. Write something about the state of the world, politics, whatever. Write something. It's in you, so do it. Play guitar. Play other people's songs. Play your own songs. That's what we're here for, is to be artists and to create. My job is to just kind of help you to get there, hopefully quicker, but you know what I'm saying? Play some AC/DC or I won't respect you, Joe is saying. Then I gotta play some AC/DC. So I talked about the solo for, you know, You Shook Me All Night Long. So, you know. Well, I'm out of tune there. But you get the idea. So now, Joe respects me. All right. Why are there bass guitars? Grazie per the consideration. Yeah. Thank you for the answer. Thumbs up for Epiphone. Epiphone Les Paul Juniors can be found all day on eBay for $100. You know, do it. Get it. Joe loves AC/DC. Cerrone Knowlton. What up, Cerrone? Used Mexican strats are good. That is true. And in fact, my first strat was a Mexican strat. And so people ask me a lot of times the difference between like the different strats. And basically, the different countries that they're made in a lot of times are, you know, depend on or what am I saying? The different countries will determine the construction and the quality of a particular instrument, with the Americans being the top, because it's an American company probably, and so the most expensive ones. And so they, you know, each one has a different bit, but Mexican strats are pretty good, and they have some different quality control, different parts and stuff like that on all of them, you know. Thanks, man. I do love this guitar. It's probably my favorite, you know. Okay. Again, thanks YouTube, because I've lost this, lost my place again. Daggone it, I really don't like that, you know. Guys, I'm probably going to be heading out here because the wife's going to be home soon and we're going to walk in the park. But until she gets here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep on answering questions here, okay? So, here we go. I'm trying to find my place where I was before. Jeez, there's so many questions here. I'm just going to jump in as opposed to just keep going in here. So sorry if I missed your question. There's no way I could get to them all anyhow, you know. It's just no way. Have you ever done a rig rundown type video of all your gear? Yes, I have. I've definitely done it in the Unstoppable Guitar System, but I believe that I've done it I believe that I have done that on YouTube as well, but I will be doing that in future broadcasts. And it really angers me that I've literally have a cam here set up that's pointing right down at my pedal board, and I've got a close-up cam, and that's the one I'm looking at right now, and I backed it off so you can see me, but it frustrates me that all that stuff isn't together here, you know. This live thing is great. Do you have any videos on finger picking and while using a pick, country picking, I suppose? That stuff sounds badass. So what Will is talking about there is called hybrid picking, and I cover that in the Unstoppable Guitar System for sure. Okay. Yes, I have Instagram. Get on there. Get on Facebook and Twitter too. If you guys want to know about stuff that I'm doing, you gotta like my Facebook page and the Twitter page. And I'm not saying go do that, otherwise I'm not gonna send you anything. What I mean is, sometimes, I mean, look, I get hundreds of requests a day. I get a lot of emails from folks, and to try to keep up with all is nearly impossible. It's so hard to do if I even want to practice guitar. So you guys have to be vigilant if you want to have this information. So, you know, I'm going to post that sometimes on Facebook, sometimes on Twitter. It just depends, you know, it really depends. So my username is YourGuitarSage everywhere pretty much. What's my favorite Fender guitar? This 1965 Strat. That's my favorite. I love it. It's my favorite. But 65s are known as the blues players electric. They're like the cream of the crop for acoustic or for blues players. I love them. Angus Rules, yes. Somewhere over the rainbow. Can you do a video in the future how to start or join a band, please? That's a great idea. I need to put that on the list. It's a great idea. See you, Joe. Joe's going to work. Everybody say goodbye to Joe. Eric, thanks for all your video tutorials. They have been a major help to me. Is there any way you can send a video for a critique? If I could send a video. Yeah, send it. People do that all the time. They send me videos and they say critique me, and I'll do it sometimes. Brighten then? I don't know what that means. Brighten then. Comma typos of the devil. Bobby Boucher. Yeah, okay. Play some AC/DC, man. Can you give fast down picking down? Can you give? I don't know what that means. Hey, YourGuitarSage, do you have a band, and what beginner scale should I practice first? I've been in so many bands, it's just not even funny. I'm not in a band right now. I was recently in a band called The Resistance, where we did a lot of cover stuff, AC/DC, and all sorts of like 60s, 70s, and 80s, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not in that right now. I'm just teaching a whole lot. What scale should you be learning? You should be learning the pentatonic scale and the blues scale, the major scale. Those are the top three. I'd say the blues scale and the major scale. If you know those two scales, you can literally play so many things. You know, pentatonic scale is an awesome scale. It's one note away from the blues scale, one less note. So that's why I said go with blues. But pentatonic is great. I call it the most powerful scale in the world. Okay, you've made me want some AC/DC now. What was the first song? The first song I ever learned to play was, that I can remember, was Foolin' by Def Leppard. And that's really what got me into playing guitar. If you don't know who that band is or that album, you need to get it because it's amazing. Do you fit the Maestro tremolo and SG yourself? You know, here it is. I didn't put it on there. It came like this. This guitar was owned by Lita Ford and Joan Jett from the Runaways. This guitar played with the Runaways. Isn't that cool? This is 1969. It was born when I was, a long time ago. And so they had the stop tailpiece, and then they put the tremolo on it later on. And I don't have the heart to take it off because, one, it looks cool, it sounds good. I was going to right when I got it, and then I just thought, why? You know, it's like the Runaways. It's just so cool. I love that. Okay. Thanks for the advice, Charles. Thanks for the advice, Charles, and guitar cover. Wow. Oops. Can you give some advice on how to start or join a band? I've been over that. Give some hard, fast rock licks. Is Jamie Andreas your sister? Nope. Any Niles Rogers lessons planned? No. Do you like Dead Meadow? I don't know who that is. Sorry. Which one do you prefer for live shows, analog or digital? I'm pretty much all an analog guy now, and but I love digital stuff too. I'm not going to be one of those guys that's like, you must go analog, but I'm getting that way. I'm liking the analog stuff more again. When I was young, I did, and now I'm that way again. Okay, my friends, it's time for me to go. I've gone over, and thank you so much for being here. I'm going to try to get more of these questions answered on each one of these broadcasts. Thank you for hanging in with me there. This is why we're doing these broadcasts, is because we want to make sure that we get the technology right, and today has proven that I have some more work to do, as if I didn't have enough. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. I really appreciate you. Again, guys, let's go over it really quick. This Saturday, at 11 a.m. Central Time, I'm going to be giving this guitar away. It is an Ortega 121. I have a review for it. All these I have reviews for, so make sure you check. And they're ones that are going up right now, or ones that have gone up this week, etc. The Jamstik. This thing is very, very cool. It's not going to replace your guitar, but it is really cool. You would have it in addition to your guitar. Vibe strings. Going to be giving those away. X Guitar X. By the way, these Vibe strings, I just did a video for those. Make sure you check that out. I have a video for this X Guitar X capo. Use them all the time. The Click Uber tuner. Okay, really clear to see, as you can see, and we're going to be doing that as well. So there you go, my friends. Make sure you join up. Go to well, I'm not sure where we got that link now, but I believe it's YourGuitarSage.com/live. Okay, I believe that's where we're at. But sign up on my email list. You're going to get emails. Make sure you're on Twitter. Make sure you're on Facebook. If you want to win stuff. Oh, not only am I giving all that stuff away, I'm giving away tons of ebooks. I'm going to be giving lifetime memberships to the Unstoppable Guitar System away. Those are $400 a pop. Going to be giving those away. Ebooks, I mentioned that. Courses, coupons, so much stuff. So many people are going to win stuff. So if you care to have guitar stuff and win stuff, then make sure that you come by. If you don't, that's okay. You ain't going to offend me. It's okay. All right, my friends. Thank you so much. I'm outie, and I'll probably be doing another one of these later on this week. So be looking out for that. And I definitely will be doing it on Saturday at 11 a.m. Make sure that you stop by for that. All right. See ya, everybody.